to... Hi. Okay, I will try to contain my excitement, but it's the first time I'm up here without my violin. Well, there you are, but let me introduce myself. My name is Berfin. I've been playing the violin since I was 7 years old, and now I'm 18. Today, I will be talking mainly about music and life, but I am just up here to share my journey with you. Also, I apologize for not memorizing the speech because I am actually terrified to mess it up, but I always enjoyed singing and humming, even when I was only 5 years old, and my parents thought, wait a second, shall we take her to someone who would understand if she has some sort of talent? So I started to Beekent's pre-conservatory education school, and I started with piano. It was already a huge positivity in my life because I loved every single second of playing an instrument. However, when I auditioned for the actual school 2 years later, my soon-to-be teacher told me that my hands were more suitable for violin. And I cried. I really didn't like it, but I couldn't do anything about it. Who would have thought that changing an instrument could actually be one of the best things that's happened to me? Small things that make us sad in that moment can turn into something that will make us the happiest person in the long run. Some kind of a life motto, I guess. So, after I started the violin, I don't remember exactly how I began or what I learned first, but it became very natural after a while. I want to give an example to this. Are there any of you driving a car? Most of the time, you don't know how you're going to one place because you've been driving for so many years. You know how to drive, your brain goes automatic, just empties itself. It is the same thing with getting used to anything, really. I've been learning the techniques of violin, and it is simpler for me to think about the music, same as the destination for those of you who drive. Since the age of 2, I've had this illness called familiar Mediterranean fever, which causes kidney attacks whenever I'm traveling, or there is weather change, or mood change like stress and sadness. I guess anything can trigger it. Sometimes it just happens randomly that I'm left with pain and fever for a few days. So I've been using medication for it every day, and apparently it is a permanent illness that could disappear maybe when I'm 50, said the doctors with such an enthusiasm. All because, why am I telling you this? Well, because my music helped the pain, and the pain helped the music. I would try to push myself to practice even when I knew I couldn't stand straight, because as soon as I stopped thinking and started thinking about the piece I'm playing, even for a short moment, I felt at ease. Definitely on the basis of my own experiences, playing an instrument, I can happily say, is the best cure for back pain, headaches, and some other problems. And the other thing is, I do believe going through hard times in life and having the experience of sadness can be a helpful tool for adding different spices for our music. I will shortly tell you some things that I've done until now, so I can give you an idea of my life. I went to Italy to do a competition for the first time in 2007, and I remember there were 2 other girls that I got along really well with. But what we had in common was this: we had no English, and that didn't matter at all for us to communicate. We were only there to have fun and enjoy making music. Since then, I've done some other competitions and got to see the world because of that. Well, parts of it. And winning a prize was a nice feeling, making my family and teacher proud, all so lovely. However, that wasn't my thing, even back then. The negativity of competitiveness really put me off the idea of competitions. What they ask in competitions usually is perfection, finding the absolute. When musicians, especially younger ones with a natural musicality, join these competitions, I think playing perfect narrows what they're trying to tell with their instrument and take away their creativity. My way of thinking is unfortunately hypocritical because I might need to do one in the future. Who knows? I studied in Bilkent for 8 years and had a very small family, 10 of us at the end of my time there. Afterwards, my teacher insisted that I continue my education elsewhere, mainly because he thought I should start learning with a new teacher. I auditioned to Yehudi Menuhin School, and I started studying there at the age of 14. Yehudi Menuhin was a legendary violinist who built the school 54 years ago. The place really is one of a kind, with great difficulties, of course. Every musician is unique, every staff member is unique. Life in Menuhin was a bit like camping. Imagine, they wake you up at 7 a.m. with the bright light on, and if you're not ready to go to breakfast by 7:30, you're in trouble. And though frustrating at times, I must say it was quite nice to feel that some other people than your family really care for your well-being. Menuhin School was a place that had the biggest role in finding my inner self. I discovered new genres of music, widened my knowledge of books, music history, and art. My new teacher there was much different. She was tough, especially our lessons seemed to be a lot more strict than the others. After 3 years of misery, I started to think that I would never become a soloist. That has been my dream, to be able to make music and travel the world because of it. Unfortunately, I began to forget this, and my love for music faded for a short time. On my 4th and last year at school, after one concert, she came up to me and said, "All this time, I was so hard on you because I knew you would be wonderful someday." My heart melted. I didn't see the side of her before, and I finally felt grounded and happy. Then it was time to say farewell to my friends that I've been so used to being with, like 24/7. The last few weeks were ridiculously emotional, but my teacher was the hardest one, I must say, because I thought I was so ready to move on and get started with a new teacher. I almost forgot that I had a deeper connection, that she was family. During my last year, I auditioned to 2 colleges in London. I had to decide a new teacher. Guildhall School of Music and Drama is not just a college for classical music, but also jazz and acting and stage management, technical theater. I felt much closer to Guildhall because we are all together there. And the teacher I felt closer to and education they would provide. So I got accepted after auditioning. Now I am studying at Guildhall in London since September 2016. First year college, and I couldn't have enjoyed it more. I love everything about that city, with its variety of museums and concerts and parks and so on. I feel independent, and for the first time I find it fun to grow up. The great twist is, this is just the beginning. As I mentioned earlier, I believe that feeling true pain is important for what I do. It helped me find darker colors, and my emotions as I played the violin increased more and more over the years. I lost my mom when I was 9 years old. My brother was quite young too, only 12. I'd never practiced on my own before because I hated it. She was the one with such discipline, and I was just lazy, and I got so used to having her with me, I felt completely lost without her. It took years for me to get myself around that mindset of working, and I understand now that she was a huge supporter of my music and only wanted what is best for me. 3 days after her birthday, after her death, it was her birthday. And strange enough, I had a violin exam on that day. It was my very first performance when I cried and played at the same time. It is difficult growing up without one parent. My brother and I had many troubles, especially during our puberty years. We all know those are the rebel years to socialize and do things you're not supposed to do. However, it was harder for us, and we weren't so sure about our identities for a while. We found our way back eventually. His one was going back to sports, mine was going back to music. Yeah, there is still her place in my heart that will be missed forever, but there is not much we can do about the laws of nature, is there? My My personality is still changing, and I am still in search of many things, but playing music is something I was lucky to find over a decade ago. I'm grateful that my parents believed in me even when they had absolutely no idea of what I could become someday. So, going on, my aunt asks me random questions sometimes. This one time she asked me, why do we go and hear a performance? Is it just to waste time? Why is there even a performer? She reminded me of what I said during one of our later conversations. My response was, I, as a performer, go on that stage to show creativity through music, to grab the audience for the duration of that concert and get inside this bubble where there is no time, only melodies. It is like a good conversation with someone, where time does not apply and it passes way quicker than what you were expecting. For example, Apollo is the god of music. People would go to Temple of Delphi to search for some healing from Apollo. But by the time they get to Delphi, because they would look deeper into the problems they're having and try to deal with what is bothering them, the solution would be found on the way. Apollo would hold people now and here, and it is liberating to be able to concentrate on now and on stage, performing. In psychology, now and here is very important as well, because being here means living this moment and living this moment even deeper. If there is a very stunning performance, both the performer and the audience be in this moment, and there is an extraordinary energy flowing. Music takes us to different feeling and a conscious world and gives us hope. As long as there is a secret Apollo inside us, there is hope and inspiration. No medicine on earth can give us this trustworthy feeling as fast as music does. Sometimes, not even love. When we want to increase love, don't we listen to music? Same thing, when we are suffering because of love, don't we listen to music? It is like the comforting arm we go to, a very familiar old friend. I came to peace with accepting that my experiences made me realize I am trying all the happiness and carrying all the happiness and sadness inside me, and that I'm never alone. Melodies go beyond our human years and somehow never leave us hanging. Okay, now I want to play you in a way I've never done before, so this is going to be improvised. Hope you enjoy it. I want to say something about this because this is something all our teachers always tell us to do, before you start playing, even playing scales or arpeggios, just warming your hands, improvise. Even if you know it's going to be terrible, improvise, because it's just something that comes from here. And yeah, I wanted to try that out, so. And okay, I want to finish up with saying something that's written by Karl Polnak, just a small bit of it. The first people to understand how music really works were the ancient Greeks. And this is going to fascinate you. The Greeks said that music and astronomy were two sides of the same coin. Astronomy was seen as the study of relationships between observable, permanent, and external objects, and music was seen as the study of relationships between invisible, internal, hidden objects. Music has a way of finding the big, invisible, moving pieces inside our hearts and souls, and finding us figure out the position of things inside us. So, music, in my opinion, is faster than time. It is an instant change of location, time, and emotion whenever we hear a piece of music that simply means something for us. I once wrote to one of my notebooks, when I die, I want to be able to tape all the music I really loved and that means something to me, and go somewhere with them. That is my ideal afterlife. I really hope anyone can feel that sort of love for music, because we listen to it during difficult times too. To me, it's like the icing for our individual lonesome journeys, a beautiful subconscious addiction. I really love what I'm doing, and I cannot imagine my life without it. My only suggestion for you this evening is, even though sometimes the everyday life can take over, surround yourselves with the beauties of life.